Breaking. The US government just changed green card and visa rules. If you're an immigrant, a visa holder, or waiting for a green card, the next few minutes could change everything for you. Good evening and welcome to Zenvio News USA, your most trusted source for critical immigration updates that directly affect millions of families across America. I'm bringing you breaking news tonight that has just sent shockwaves through immigrant communities from coast to coast. The United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, or USCIS, has announced major changes to green card processing and visa regulations that will impact how quickly applications are approved, who qualifies for certain benefits, and what new requirements applicants must now meet. If you or someone you love is navigating the immigration system right now, whether you're waiting for a green card, renewing a visa, applying for citizenship, or sponsoring a family member, you need to hear every word of this report. These changes affect not just your immigration status, but your ability to work, your family's future, and your path to becoming a permanent resident or citizen of the United States. Stay with me until the end, because I'll break down exactly what these new rules mean for you, who will face the biggest challenges, what the financial impact could be, and most critically, what you need to do right now to protect your application and your future in America. Before we dive into the details, if you rely on accurate, timely immigration news without the political spin, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. Thousands of immigrants trust this channel to cut through confusion and deliver facts that matter. Don't risk missing updates that could affect your status. Now, let's get into what just happened. The United States Citizenship and Immigration Services announced this week a comprehensive overhaul of processing procedures for several key immigration categories. This is not a minor policy tweak. We are talking about fundamental changes to how green card applications are reviewed, new documentary requirements for work visas, modified priority processing standards, and updated fee structures that will take effect in the coming months. According to the official USCIS statement, these changes are designed to, quote, improve processing efficiency, reduce fraud, and ensure immigration benefits reach those who qualify under current law, end quote. But here's where it gets serious. While the government frames this as modernization and improvement, immigration attorneys and advocacy groups are raising concerns that these new requirements could create additional barriers for legitimate applicants, particularly those from lower-income backgrounds or countries with limited access to certain documentation. Let me break down the specific changes. First, green card applicants in family-based and employment-based categories will now face enhanced background check procedures. This means longer processing times, potentially adding 3 to 6 months to applications that already take years in some categories. Second, work visa holders, including H-1B, L-1, and O-1 visa categories, will need to provide additional employer verification documents and updated financial records during renewal processes. Third, the fee structure is changing. Application fees for adjustment of status, that's the process of getting a green card while already in the United States, are increasing by approximately 15 to 20% depending on the category. For a family of 3 applying together, we're looking at an additional cost of roughly $800 to $1,200. Fourth, and this is critical, USCIS is implementing stricter standards for proving financial support. Sponsors will need to demonstrate higher income levels, and the agency will conduct more thorough reviews of tax returns and employment verification. Now let's talk about who this affects, because that's what really matters. If you're currently waiting for a family-based green card, especially if you're from countries like Mexico, India, Philippines, or China, where backlogs already stretch for years or even decades, these processing delays could mean even more waiting. Imagine you've already been separated from your spouse or children for 5 years, and now you're looking at potentially 6 more months or longer before your case is decided. That's real human impact. That's families living in limbo, unable to plan their futures, unable to work legally in some cases, unable to travel freely without risking their applications. If you're on a work visa, particularly H-1B holders in the tech industry or other specialized fields, the new employer verification requirements mean you and your company will need to gather more documentation every time you renew. If your employer is a small business or startup, they may find the administrative burden challenging, and in some cases, this could affect their willingness to sponsor visa renewals. For those of you who are self-employed or work in industries with irregular income patterns, proving consistent financial stability just got harder. But that's not all. Students on F1 visas hoping to transition to work authorization and eventually green cards need to pay attention. The stricter financial standards mean your optional practical training applications and subsequent employment-based green card sponsorships will face more scrutiny. Your employers will need to demonstrate not just that they're paying you fair wages, but that they have the financial stability to employ you long-term. Here's where it gets serious. Let's talk about the financial and economic impact of these changes. On an individual level, the increased fees hit hardest on working-class immigrant families. When a family of 4 is trying to adjust status and become permanent residents, they're already paying somewhere between $4,000 and $6,000 in government fees alone, not counting attorney costs, medical examinations, translations, and travel expenses. An additional $1,000 to $1,500 might not sound like much to some, but for a family where both parents work hourly jobs, maybe in food service, retail, or construction, that's a month's rent. That's groceries for 2 months. That's a choice between pursuing legal status now or waiting another year to save up, which means another year of uncertainty. The processing delays have economic consequences beyond individual families. Small businesses across America that rely on skilled immigrant workers face uncertainty. If a company has sponsored an employee for a green card and that employee is waiting in limbo, unable to change jobs without restarting the process, unable to take certain promotions, that affects workplace productivity and employee morale. Multiply that across thousands of businesses, and you're looking at real economic drag. Immigration experts estimate that approximately 1.2 million people are currently in various stages of green card processing in the United States. If average processing times increase by even 4 months, that's 1.2 million people living with extended uncertainty, potentially delaying major life decisions like buying homes, starting businesses, or making long-term investments in their communities. The National Association of Realtors has noted in previous years that immigrants represent a significant portion of first-time homebuyers. Processing delays can ripple through the housing market, particularly in immigrant-heavy metropolitan areas. There's also the issue of legal costs. With more complex requirements and documentation demands, more applicants will need to hire immigration attorneys to navigate the process. Attorney fees for green card cases typically range from $2,000 to $5,000 depending on complexity and location. For many families, this is prohibitively expensive, but attempting to navigate the new, more complex system without legal help could result in denials or delays that cost even more in the long run. So what is the government saying about all this? The official USCIS position, stated in their press release and reiterated by agency leadership, is that these changes are necessary to combat fraud, ensure program integrity, and allocate resources more efficiently. They point to cases where fraudulent documents or misrepresented financial situations have led to immigration benefits being granted improperly. They argue that enhanced verification protects the system's credibility and ensures that those who truly qualify receive priority. The Department of Homeland Security, which oversees USCIS, has emphasized that legal immigration remains a priority, but that the agency must balance welcoming legitimate immigrants with maintaining security and order in the process. Secretary of Homeland Security representatives have stated that the fee increases are necessary to fund improved technology and hire additional staff to actually reduce processing times in the long term, even though short-term delays may occur during the transition period. However, not everyone agrees with this approach. Immigration advocacy organizations like the American Immigration Lawyers Association and the National Immigration Forum have released statements expressing concern. They argue that raising fees and adding documentation requirements disproportionately impacts lower-income applicants and families from developing countries where obtaining certain official documents can be difficult or impossible. Some Democratic lawmakers have called for congressional oversight hearings to examine whether these changes align with America's stated commitment to family-based immigration and attracting global talent. The enhanced background check and verification procedures will roll out gradually over the next 6 months. USCIS has stated they will prioritize certain categories, with employment-based green cards and high-skilled worker visas likely seeing the new requirements first, followed by family-based categories. If your case is currently pending, you may receive requests for additional evidence or documentation even if you filed under the old rules. Be prepared to respond quickly. USCIS typically gives 30 to 90 days to respond to evidence requests, and failure to respond can result in automatic denials. There are also rumors, though not yet confirmed, that USCIS may announce changes to the public charge rule in the coming months. This is the regulation that determines whether an immigrant is likely to become dependent on government benefits. Any changes to public charge could have massive implications for who qualifies for green cards. Stay tuned to this channel for updates as soon as official announcements are made. Here's what you need to do right now if you're affected by these changes. First, if you're planning to apply for a green card or visa renewal, consult with an immigration attorney immediately to understand whether you should file now before fee increases or wait to ensure you meet all new requirements. Filing with incomplete documentation just to beat a deadline can be worse than waiting. Second, start gathering documents now. If you're a sponsor, get your tax returns, pay stubs, and employment verification letters organized. If you're an applicant, collect birth certificates, marriage certificates, police records, and any other supporting documents your case might need. Third, check your case status regularly on the USCIS website if you have a pending application. Sign up for case status notifications so you're immediately alerted to any requests or updates. Fourth, if you receive a request for evidence, respond as completely and quickly as possible. Don't assume USCIS will give you the benefit of the doubt or that incomplete responses will be accepted. Let me summarize the key points you need to remember from this report. US immigration rules have just changed significantly for green card applicants and visa holders. Processing times are expected to increase by several months due to enhanced verification procedures. Fees are rising by 15 to 20% and will take effect in 60 to 90 days. Financial requirements for sponsors are becoming stricter. Approximately 1.2 million people currently in the immigration system will be affected. The changes are being implemented to reduce fraud and improve efficiency according to the government, but advocacy groups warn they may create barriers for legitimate applicants. Political debates continue, but the changes are moving forward regardless. You need to act now by consulting attorneys, gathering documents, and monitoring your case closely. The bottom line is this: the American immigration system was already complex and challenging to navigate. These new changes add another layer of difficulty, cost, and uncertainty. But here's what I want you to understand. Millions of people successfully navigate this process every year. With the right information, proper preparation, and professional guidance when needed, you can too. Don't let fear or confusion stop you from pursuing your American dream. Stay informed, stay organized, and stay persistent. If this report helped you understand what's happening and what you need to do, please hit that like button right now. Leave a comment below telling me how these changes affect you or your family. Are you waiting for a green card? Are you on a work visa? What's your biggest concern? I want to hear from you. And please, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a critical immigration update. Every week, we break down policy changes, explain legal developments, and give you practical advice to protect your status and your future in America. Share this video with anyone in your community who needs to see it. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to immigration. Thank you for trusting Zenvio News USA to keep you informed. We'll continue monitoring this story and bring you updates as soon as new information becomes available. Stay informed, stay prepared. This is your trusted source for Zenvio News USA.